Okay, hey everybody, welcome to Continue Freedom. This is an impromptu video. It's Sunday, November 10th. I've got a couple of things just that I want you all to be aware of. Going into the next week, into the next few weeks, into the next month, up to Inauguration Day, post-inauguration, there's a lot of things popping off right now that I think everybody needs to be aware of and that we need to just keep your eye on it. That's all I'm saying. Keep your eye on it. One of the big ones is Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is trying... This Tuesday is my understanding, is what I believe, that this next Tuesday, he's going to have a secret vote to decide who is going to replace him as the Senate Majority Leader. We've now got the majority in the Senate, which is beautiful. It's glorious. It's wonderful. And he's pushing for John Cornyn or John Thune. And what do the American people want? Now, the third option is Rick Scott from Florida. Rick Scott, John Cornyn, John Thune. Go ahead and leave it in the comments below. Who would you want? Which of those three, who would you prefer to have? And I'll give you a moment. I feel like I ought to play the Jeopardy music. Da, 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 da. Okay, enough of that. Rick Scott is 90% of the people, according to a Mike Lee survey that he put out on X, 90% of the people said Rick Scott. Rick Scott is not who Mitch McConnell wants. It's not. He is trying to, this is like these last-ditch efforts to try to, for the establishment, I call them 2004 Republicans because that's really there's a difference. In the past 2 decades, Republicans have wildly shifted on their stances, and Rick Scott more closely aligns with the 2024 Republican, but John Cornyn and John Thune align with the 2004 Republicans, the Bush era Republicans, the Unipartians, that sort of stuff. And so he's trying to do this in a secret meeting on Tuesday. Write your senators, call your senators, post about them on social media, blow them up, make them trend, right? Make them trend on social media that, hey, we want Rick Scott. Don't give us the same old trash. Mitch McConnell did not vote for Donald Trump, I don't believe. I don't think John Cornyn voted for Donald Trump in this election. I don't know if they've made that public or not, but if I had to guess, they would probably tell you they did. But would they went into that ballot box just between them and God and, the voting machine? I'm willing to bet John Cornyn was like, give me Kamala Harris. Oh boy, give me some Kamala Harris all day long. Not this Donald Trump guy who actually represents the people. This is what they're... And look, the Senate doesn't get it, but Trump does. Trump gets it. He gets that his voters are tired of the establishment. He really does. There was a lot of grumblings on social media about Mike Pompeo being part of the Trump admin. And he came out, and Nikki Haley as well, by the way, who at a last-ditch effort to try to remain politically relevant said, I totally support Donald Trump. He's the only viable option, even though she was running against him and said that he would be a terrible president and couldn't win. She said, Donald Trump said, I will not invite former Ambassador Nikki Haley or former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to join the Trump administration. Hallelujah, anyhow. Makes me want to sing a song. The announcement comes amid criticism from the more isolationist faction of the Republican Party, which has been wary of figures with more interventionist leanings. Yeah, a lady who made her millions working for Boeing, for the military-industrial complex, the same one we talk about all the time. But we're like, look, Eisenhower warned us in the 60s, 1961 actually, where he said, you know what? This scientific, technological elite, the military-industrial complex, maybe we ought to watch out for these guys. This ain't a good thing. This is not going to bode well for we the people, for the American people. And yet we let them take control anyway. The establishment, the Uniparty, has become a very formidable force in politics, and they were able to take control. And Donald Trump is the people's antibody reaction to that. But the government's antibody reaction to Trump is to try and thwart him at every turn. And this is why you have, the Uniparty, the establishment, Mitch McConnell trying to put in somebody who's going to block, he'll go on MSNBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, all those places saying, I think that, maybe it's political, he's naive politically and he doesn't quite understand the politics of this, but I don't think it's really smart that we go forward with the dismantling of the Department of Education, or I don't think it's smart that we go forward with, shrinking down the NIH or cutting their budget. I don't think that it's really smart to have somebody like an RFK. He's a bit of a radical, going out there and trying to restrict the agricultural industry, the big ag and big pharma and all that. Nah, I think we need to play a bit more tempered approach to this, a little more a political approach to this. Can you imagine a John Cornyn saying that or a John Thune saying that? Rick Scott would come out and say, yeah, these people are corrupt. Let's go ahead and let's just shave it off the top here. Take 50% of their budget. Take 100% of their budget for some of these departments. He would probably be backing most of the things that Donald Trump is trying to do. So it's the antibody reaction. It's the fever. This is the fever that you get when your body is fighting off an illness, right? It's trying to kill off that virus inside of it. And the virus is the Uniparty. The virus is the bureaucracy, and the virus is the establishment, because the establishment will do whatever it can to penalize the political opposition to its existence. If that's what, I guess that would be a good way to put it. There is political opposition to the bureaucracy, and the bureaucracy says, no, well, how did you vote? How'd you vote? Did you vote the right way? Nope. Well, then we're not going to give you hurricane relief. FEMA did it. And it's not always the big heads of the department, right? FEMA says, oh, we're disturbed by this report. The people that run FEMA are okay with this, but they kind of have to respond now that it's made its way into the media, into the mainstream media. But it's the little authoritarians, the little dictators in their own little world with they control of our tax dollars. They're saying, well, if you voted the wrong way, you're not going to get FEMA relief. I mean, how nuts can you... Seriously? So FEMA announced that the agency will take steps to remove an employee from their role. Well, I would hope so. This employee instructed workers not to help those in homes impacted by the recent hurricanes Helene and Milton if there were Trump signs on the property. Oh, wrong signs. You're on the wrong side of history, people. The statement was in response to the Daily Wire's explosive report that revealed through text messages that Supervisor Marnie Washington with the Disaster Relief Agency told workers to avoid homes advertising Trump as they worked to identify those in the Lake Placid, Florida area who may be eligible for federal aid. This led to at least 20 homes being bypassed in October and November. Boy, you vote the wrong way. Yep. You threaten their jobs. You threaten the job of those valiant FEMA, political actors. There you go. I mean, good gracious. This is why we're over the bureaucracy. This is why we're over it. There's a funny video out there that somebody took all the MSNBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, all of their sound bites and their video clips, saying Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. He's a threat to democracy. He's going to destroy our democracy. And they replaced, using AI voiceover, replaced democracy with bureaucracy. And it was, it's a beautiful video. When you see, any of these people, Van Jones and all those actors out there saying, oh, he's a threat to our bureaucracy. Yeah, he is. He absolutely is. And they can't get you on ideas, right? They can't sway the American people on ideas anymore because their ideas are trash. Their ideas are terrible. So what do? They just try to scare you. A former security advisor to Vice President Mike Pence, oh yeah, that's an impartial individual, is predicting that Tuesday's presidential election will mean the unleashing of Donald Trump to make war on all of his political enemies. I personally don't think Donald Trump's going to go far enough. I really don't. Donald Trump has this desire to be a unifier inside of America, but we are so polarized right now that I don't think it's necessarily beneficial to try to be this unifier. This is why, when people said, oh, it's now that Donald Trump won, it's time to turn down the temperature. I don't think so. I really don't. If Donald Trump had lost, Donald Trump would be in jail. If Donald Trump had lost, Elon Musk would have lost all of his government contracts. Our space program would have come to a halt. The money that he was getting he's got the largest EV company in the world. And they would have said, no, let's shift it over to Ford or to, GM or one of those companies that's making these subpar EVs, instead of the guy who's actually figured out how to do this, how to do it right. And let's shift it over to the ones that are, that donate to our political campaigns. Those auto worker unions that have been supporting us for years and years and years. Let's get them back on board. Let's put the money over towards them. So they would have shut down the largest EV company in the world. They would have shut down the space program effectively. They would have put the presidential candidate in prison. And now we say, oh, well, let's turn down the temperature. No, absolutely not. This is a movement that has to continue with force over the next 8 years, 12 years, 16 years. We have to keep going and going and going and going and building a conservative movement that takes us back towards the Constitution. And we don't do that by appeasing the people these mentally disturbed people in a lot of instances. Yeah, we don't do that. That's not how this happens. It's not how we make change. Because these are violent, violent people. See, Seattle's barely holding it together. Their PD has been fending off thousands and thousands of people who are trying to riot. Nope. Not time to turn down the political temperature. Not time to turn it down. In fact, we need to be looking at what the states are doing. Different states are if you look at all the states where Kamala Harris won, no voter ID in all but 2. So in all but 2 of the states that Kamala Harris won, there's no voter ID requirements. And we know that there's 20 million people out there that didn't seem to vote in this election, but there's 20 million people out there who are potential voters for the left. This is what we have to be watching over the next few years. Which states? Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Where are they going to try to push these voter ID laws? Because that benefits them in a massive, massive way. Because they're the ones who got these people, into this country. These people want to stay in this country. They'll do whatever they have to stay in this country. They'll vote however they tell them to vote, just to stay in this country. And so, we have to remember the people that we're dealing with are they don't work on the same common sense spectrum that we operate on. They don't operate on the same, mental wavelength that we operate on. These people are suffering from mental illness, like a true mental illness. Trump derangement syndrome is a very, very, very real thing. To the point that, listen to this. This is unbelievable. This is some amazing clips from X. Here's their solution. Here's how you protest the election of Donald J. Trump as president of the United States.
Easiest and most effective form of protest you have right now that you can start immediately, put a mask back on.
Oh, there you go. Put a mask.
Stop letting them observe your face and have the side benefit of better health.
We're not too worried about seeing your face.
And protecting the rest of us in the world. Put a mask back on.
There you go. Put a mask on. Mask back up, people. Not because you need it, because you're so introverted and you are so scared of the outside world that you need to protect yourself and hide yourself. Or if you're in California, this is crazy
because of the fear and
this was really crazy. This is what they're doing for students in University. Which one was it? University of California. Which one of them? I don't know which one it was. Listen to this.
For a lot of the folks, again, because of the fear and the uncertainty of what's coming, this can be a traumatic moment for them. And so I would argue that counseling is not a dramatic response, but that it's an appropriate response. And this is a healing-centered campus. Some of it was more formalized counseling services, and others were really just more intentional interactions. Come in and, do meditation coloring sheets.
Oh, coloring books, meditation coloring sheets. That's a coloring book for adults. Good gracious. But as I showed you before, the Antifa and all that, this is what this mind virus does, is it infects people and it spreads like wildfire in these leftist cities. And the people that are cultivating the militant wing of the left, the militant wing of the Democrat Party, are the parents like this. This woman is in a prominent position with her child, her 12-year-old, and this is what her 12-year-old thinks about a presidential election. Listen.
So on election night, I went to pick up my daughter from water polo practice, and she's 12, and she got in the car and she was crying. And I said, did someone punch you? Like, water polo is a rough sport. I was like, did someone hit you? Did the coach yell at you? What happened? And she said, Mom, Trump won. Trump's going to win. And what if I get raped and I need to have an abortion?
Okay. A 12-year-old gets that from one place and one place, well, two places, two potential places. One from the parents, from a bad parent, from an emotionally abusive parent, which is what I believe this woman is probably, or from social media. So this is the messaging that is cultivating the militant wing and building the militant wing of the left, the militant wing of the Democrat Party. And this is what we are up against. It is not going to stop. It is not going to relent. It is going to go, go, go. And this is how you get what we see in Seattle, in Portland. We'll see it in Portland. We'll see it in Chicago. We'll see it in New York. We'll see it all over the place. And it's going to, this is the antibody reaction. Again, the antibody reaction to somebody like Donald Trump, who says, I'm going to upend this establishment. I'm not going to sit here and pander to it. I'm not going to sit here and support it. No, I'm going to start shaving back the bureaucracy that runs our lives. It's really, really great to see this. Makes me happy. Makes me so happy. Makes me so happy. All right. Well, I was going to show you. I've got a couple more things, but I'm only at 17 minutes. Let me show it to you. Donald Trump. This is from Clint Russell, and pardon the French on this one from his post, but he said I might actually be able to tell you the truth again on YouTube, because Donald Trump says that he is going to go after the censorship industrial complex, which is a huge problem. I've experienced the problem, on YouTube. YouTube is it's a censorship machine. It's absolutely ridiculous. And so Donald Trump says that he's going to go after these this kind of partnership between social media companies and the political guys and the folks that are giving them money and all this sort of stuff and federal subsidies, all that kind of stuff. Donald Trump says he's going to shut all of that down. And I think that's going to be it's dangerous territory for Donald Trump to get into that, because I think, kind of the Milton Friedman approach would be that let YouTube keep doing what YouTube does, and let a Rumble or a Truth Social or an X, something like that, build itself up and take the place of a YouTube. Create a better product, create a better social media environment for people to succeed. And Donald Trump says we're going to start regulating it. And I don't know exactly how I feel about that. My gut reaction is no, it depends, right? If you're talking about federal subsidies, none of them should be getting any federal money. Like, just if they're getting it, take it away. I don't care who it's from. Take away the money from them. But if they are censoring, if there's some public-private partnership between social media and the federal government, shut all of that down. And then you're going to kind of start forcing these entities not to act appropriately, act in accordance with the First Amendment. That's what we actually need. Just get the government out of it altogether. Why does the government need to get data from Google? Do it with if you've got a subpoena, if you've got something from an actual federal court, fine. You're going to get your data. That's going to be decided. But this censorship industrial complex, which is a very, very real thing, that is what needs to be upended. That's what needs to be shut down. Cut it off at the ankles. Done. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave comments below. The future. I'm so hopeful. I'm so optimistic. I'm loving it. I'm loving where we're going right now, but we have to make sure that the right decisions are being made in the Senate, in the House, in the presidential appointments. He's got 10 or 15,000 appointments that he has to make as the president of the United States. Who he picks can have monstrous, monstrous implications. So let's stay active on social media. Reach out here on Continue Freedom. Give me all your thoughts and ideas. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless you. God bless America, and God bless Donald Trump, the 47th President of the United States.